Think about Margaret, a 73-year-old grandmother from Ohio. Just 2 years ago, she was taking 7 different medications, struggling to climb stairs, and feeling like her best days were behind her. But today, she's hiking with her grandchildren, sleeping through the night, and her doctor has reduced her medications by half. What changed everything wasn't expensive treatments or miracle cures. It was discovering 7 simple wellness secrets that 99% of seniors are completely unaware of. If you're over 65, or if someone you love is, what I'm about to share could literally add years to your life and life to your years. But here's what concerns me. Most people your age are unknowingly making critical mistakes every single day that are slowly robbing them of their vitality, their independence, and their precious time with family. I've spent the last 15 years working with thousands of seniors, and I've seen the same patterns over and over again. The saddest part? These problems are completely preventable. Today, I'm going to reveal the 7 wellness secrets that the healthiest seniors know. Secrets that your doctor probably hasn't told you and that could transform your golden years from survival mode into the most vibrant chapter of your life. Key point 1, the golden time for morning health habits. Let me tell you about Harold, an 82-year-old retired teacher. For years, Harold would wake up, immediately check his phone, and stumble to the kitchen feeling groggy and stiff. His mornings were a struggle, and by noon, he was already exhausted. Everything changed when he discovered what I call the golden hour protocol. Here's the first secret that 99% of seniors miss. The first hour after waking is the most critical time for setting your entire day's energy and health trajectory. Your body has been in repair mode all night, and how you transition from sleep to wakefulness determines whether you'll feel energized or depleted for the next 16 hours. Harold now follows a simple routine. First, before even getting out of bed, he does 5 minutes of gentle stretching. Then, instead of reaching for his phone, he drinks a full glass of room-temperature water with a pinch of sea salt. This rehydrates his organs and kick-starts his metabolism. Next, he spends 10 minutes in natural sunlight, even if it's through a window, which regulates his circadian rhythm and boosts vitamin D production. But here's what transformed Harold's life. He eliminated the 3 morning mistakes that most seniors make. First, he stopped drinking coffee on an empty stomach, which was causing his afternoon energy crashes. Second, he quit checking stressful news first thing in the morning, protecting his nervous system from unnecessary activation. Third, he began moving his body gently before sitting down for breakfast. The science behind this is remarkable. Your cortisol levels naturally peak in the morning. This is good cortisol that gives you energy. But if you shock your system with caffeine, stress, or sudden movement, you create cortisol chaos that leaves you exhausted by midday. Harold's transformation was so dramatic that his adult children thought he was taking some kind of supplement. The truth? He simply learned to work with his body's natural rhythms instead of against them. Key point 2, the importance of meal timing. Eleanor, a 76-year-old from Texas, had been struggling with digestive issues, afternoon fatigue, and unwanted weight gain for years. Her doctors kept prescribing medications, but nothing seemed to work. Then she discovered the second secret that changed everything. It's not just what you eat, but when you eat that determines your health after 65. Here's what most seniors don't realize. As we age, our digestive fire, what ancient medicine calls our metabolic power, becomes weaker and more sensitive to timing. Eleanor was making the classic mistake of eating her largest meal at dinner around 7 p.m., then going to bed 3 hours later. Her poor digestive system was working overtime while she was trying to sleep, leading to restless nights and groggy mornings. The transformation happened when Eleanor shifted to what I call the sunrise-sunset protocol. She began eating her largest meal at lunch when her digestive fire is strongest, and her smallest meal at dinner, finishing at least 4 hours before bedtime. But here's the game changer. She also discovered the power of the 16 to 8 eating window. Eleanor now eats all her meals within an 8-hour window from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., giving her digestive system a full 16 hours to rest and repair. This isn't starvation. It's strategic eating that works with your body's natural circadian rhythms. The results were incredible. Within 6 weeks, her chronic bloating disappeared, her energy stabilized throughout the day, and she naturally lost 15 pounds without counting a single calorie. But what surprised Eleanor most was the mental clarity. When your digestive system isn't constantly working, your brain gets more energy. She started reading again, took up watercolor painting, and her family noticed she was sharper and more present than she'd been in years. The science is clear. After 65, your metabolism slows down, but it also becomes more sensitive to timing. When you eat late at night, you're forcing your body to choose between digestion and cellular repair. Choose repair, and you'll wake up refreshed and energized. Key point 3. The key to a good night's sleep. Frank, a 79-year-old veteran, hadn't had a full night's sleep in over a decade. He was waking up 4 to 5 times each night, spending hours staring at the ceiling and feeling exhausted every morning. His doctor suggested sleeping pills, but Frank was concerned about dependency and side effects. That's when he discovered the third secret that 99% of seniors overlook: the power of sleep temperature regulation. Here's what Frank learned. After 65, your body's ability to regulate temperature naturally decreases, but your need for optimal sleep temperature becomes even more critical. Most seniors keep their bedrooms too warm, which disrupts the natural temperature drop your body needs to enter deep sleep phases. Frank made 3 simple changes that transformed his sleep forever. First, he lowered his bedroom temperature to 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. This might feel cool when you first get into bed, but it's exactly what your aging body needs for optimal sleep architecture. Second, he discovered the power of thermal layering, using breathable cotton sheets and a lightweight blanket that he could adjust throughout the night. But here's the game changer that Frank's doctor never mentioned: the connection between core body temperature and sleep quality becomes more sensitive with age. Frank started taking a warm shower 90 minutes before bedtime. This temporarily raises your core temperature, and when you get out, your body temperature drops rapidly, sending a powerful signal to your brain that it's time for deep sleep. The third element was addressing what I call midnight worry syndrome. Frank realized he was waking up not because of physical discomfort, but because his mind would start racing with concerns about health, finances, or family. He learned a technique called worry journaling, spending 10 minutes before his shower writing down any concerns, and specifically writing next to each one: I will address this tomorrow after a good night's sleep. Within 3 weeks, Frank was sleeping through the night for the first time in years. His energy returned, his mood improved, and his family noticed he was more patient and present. But here's what surprised him most. His blood pressure, which had been elevated for years, returned to normal ranges. His doctor was amazed, but Frank understood. When you sleep well, everything else in your body works better. Key point 4. Social connections and mental well-being. Dorothy, an 84-year-old widow, was slowly fading away after her husband passed. She rarely left her apartment, stopped cooking proper meals, and her children were worried about her increasing isolation. What Dorothy didn't realize was that she was experiencing something that affects 35% of seniors, but is rarely discussed: social starvation, and it was literally killing her faster than any physical disease. Here's the 4th secret that could save your life. Loneliness after 65 isn't just an emotional problem, it's a medical emergency. Research shows that chronic loneliness has the same health impact as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It increases your risk of dementia by 50%, doubles your risk of heart disease, and accelerates aging at the cellular level. Dorothy's transformation began when she discovered what I call the connection prescription. Instead of waiting for others to reach out, she became intentionally social in 3 specific ways. First, she joined a weekly volunteer program at her local library, reading to children. This gave her a sense of purpose and regular social interaction with both children and other volunteers. Second, Dorothy learned about micro-connections, brief but meaningful interactions that happened throughout your day. Instead of avoiding eye contact with neighbors, she started greeting them by name. She began chatting with cashiers at the grocery store, asking about their day. These small interactions might seem insignificant, but they trigger the release of oxytocin, the bonding hormone that reduces inflammation and boosts immune function. But here's what changed Dorothy's life most dramatically. She embraced technology to connect with family. Her grandson taught her to video call, and she started having weekly virtual dinners with family members who lived far away. She joined an online book club and even started sharing photos of her garden on social media. The results were remarkable. Within 2 months, Dorothy was sleeping better, had more energy, and her doctor noticed improvements in her blood pressure and cognitive function. But the most significant change was in her spirit. She had hope again. She was making plans for the future, and she felt valued and connected. The science is clear. Humans are wired for connection, and after 65, when many natural social structures disappear, you must be intentional about creating and maintaining relationships. Your longevity depends on it more than your diet, exercise, or genetics. Key point 5, smart choices for physical activity. Meet Robert, a 77-year-old former construction worker who thought his active days were over. Chronic joint pain, decreased balance, and fear of falling had turned him into what he called a couch prisoner. His doctor recommended physical therapy, but Robert felt too old and too broken to start. Everything changed when he discovered the 5th secret. It's not about how much you move, but how smart you move. Here's what 99% of seniors get wrong about exercise. They think it has to be intense, painful, or time-consuming to be effective. Robert was stuck in the no pain, no gain mentality from his younger years, which was actually making his condition worse. The breakthrough came when he learned about movement snacking, tiny, frequent bursts of activity that compound throughout the day. Instead of forcing himself through a grueling 30-minute workout, Robert started with what I call the 2-minute rule. Every hour, he would stand up and do gentle movements for just 2 minutes. Sometimes it was marching in place, sometimes gentle arm circles, sometimes just standing and swaying. These micro movements kept his joints lubricated, his circulation flowing, and his muscles engaged without causing fatigue or pain. But here's the game changer. Robert discovered that balance and strength training could be done anywhere, without equipment, and in ways that felt natural and safe. He started brushing his teeth while standing on one foot, doing wall push-ups while waiting for his coffee to brew, and practicing sitting and standing from his chair without using his hands during TV commercials. The magic happened when Robert realized that daily activities could become his gym. He began parking farther away from store entrances, taking the stairs when available, carrying groceries and smaller loads to create more trips, and doing household chores with intentional movement patterns. He turned his home into a movement laboratory. Within 8 weeks, Robert's transformation amazed everyone, including his doctor. His balance improved dramatically, his joint pain decreased by 70%, and his confidence soared. He started taking walks around his neighborhood, something he hadn't done in 3 years. But the most significant change was psychological. He stopped seeing himself as frail and started seeing himself as someone who was actively choosing health every day. The research is overwhelming. After 65, consistency beats intensity every time. 10 minutes of movement spread throughout your day is more beneficial than one intense hour followed by 23 hours of sitting. Your body craves frequent, gentle movement, not sporadic punishment. Key point 6. Smart tips for managing medications. Patricia, a 72-year-old retired nurse, was taking 11 different medications daily. She had pills for her blood pressure, pills for her cholesterol, pills for her arthritis, pills to help her sleep, and pills to counteract the side effects of other pills. She felt like she was drowning in a sea of prescriptions, and worse, she was experiencing what her doctors called polypharmacy cascade, a dangerous cycle where medications cause side effects that require more medications. Here's the 6th secret that could literally save your life. After 65, medication interactions become exponentially more dangerous, but most seniors and even some doctors don't realize how dramatically your body's ability to process medications changes with age. Patricia's transformation began when she learned to become an active partner in her medication management rather than a passive recipient. Patricia started by creating what I call a medication audit, a comprehensive review that most seniors never do, but should do every 6 months. She gathered every prescription, over-the-counter medication, vitamin, and supplement she was taking and brought them all to one appointment with her primary doctor. What they discovered was shocking. 3 of her medications were essentially doing the same thing. 2 were interacting in ways that were causing her chronic fatigue, and 1 was no longer necessary because her condition had improved. But here's what transformed Patricia's health. She learned the power of timing and food interactions. She discovered that taking certain medications with food reduced side effects by 60%, while others needed to be taken on an empty stomach to be effective. She learned that calcium supplements were blocking the absorption of her thyroid medication and that her blood pressure medication worked better when taken at bedtime rather than in the morning. Patricia also discovered the importance of what I call medication mindfulness. Instead of mindlessly popping pills, she began paying attention to how each medication made her feel, keeping a simple journal noting her energy levels, mood, and any unusual symptoms. This awareness helped her and her doctor identify which medications were truly helping and which might be causing more harm than good. The most powerful change came when Patricia learned about therapeutic lifestyle interventions, evidence-based approaches that could potentially reduce her need for some medications. Through targeted nutrition changes, stress management, and gentle exercise, she was able to work with her doctor to safely reduce her medications from 11 to 6 over the course of a year. Patricia's story isn't about avoiding necessary medications. It's about optimizing them. With her doctor's guidance, she created a personalized medication strategy that maximized benefits while minimizing risks and side effects. Key point 7. Building mental resilience and a sense of purpose. George, an 81-year-old retired engineer, had lost his sense of purpose after retirement. His days felt empty and meaningless, and he often wondered if his best years were behind him. Depression was creeping in, and his family was concerned about his declining mental health. Then George discovered the seventh and perhaps most powerful secret. Having a sense of purpose after 65 isn't just nice to have, it's essential for longevity and can literally add years to your life. Here's what the research reveals. Seniors with a strong sense of purpose live an average of 7 years longer than those without one. They have better cognitive function, stronger immune systems, and significantly lower rates of heart disease and stroke. But here's what surprised George. Purpose doesn't have to be grand or world-changing. It just has to be personally meaningful and give you a reason to get up each morning. George's transformation began when he shifted from asking, "What's the point?" to "How can I contribute?" He started by identifying his unique skills and experiences that could benefit others. As a former engineer, he had decades of problem-solving experience and technical knowledge. Instead of seeing his retirement as an ending, he began to see it as a new beginning. George started volunteering at a local community college, helping struggling students with math and science. But here's what changed everything. He didn't just help with academics. He became a mentor, sharing life wisdom and encouraging young people who reminded him of his younger self. Seeing their faces light up when they finally understood a concept gave George a sense of joy and purpose he hadn't felt in years. But George discovered something even more powerful: the importance of continuous learning and growth. He enrolled in a pottery class, something he'd always wanted to try but never had time for. He started learning Spanish through an app, challenging his brain in new ways. He joined a book club at his local library, engaging in discussions about literature and life. The most significant change came when George embraced what I call legacy living, actively creating and sharing his life story and wisdom. He started writing memoirs for his grandchildren, recording videos about his engineering projects, and sharing stories about how the world had changed during his lifetime. This wasn't just nostalgia. It was purposeful documentation of a life well lived. Within 6 months, George's family barely recognized him. His energy returned, His mood improved dramatically, and he started making plans for the future again. His doctor was amazed at improvements in his blood work and cognitive assessments. George had discovered that aging isn't about decline. It's about transformation and the opportunity to become the wisest, most experienced version of yourself. Now, let me bring this all together with a truth that might surprise you. Margaret, Harold, Eleanor, Frank, Dorothy, Robert, Patricia, and George. These aren't just isolated success stories. They represent millions of seniors who discovered that their golden years don't have to be about managing decline. They can be about embracing transformation. Here's what I want you to understand. Every single one of these 7 secrets works because they address the real changes that happen in your body and mind after 65. They're not about fighting aging. They're about aging intelligently, with grace, vitality, and purpose. Think about it this way. You've accumulated 65-plus years of wisdom, experience, and knowledge. You've survived challenges, raised families, built careers, and navigated life's complexities. Why would you suddenly become fragile and helpless now? The answer is, you don't have to. These 7 secrets, optimizing your morning routine, eating in harmony with your circadian rhythms, prioritizing quality sleep, maintaining meaningful connections, moving smartly and consistently, managing medications wisely, and cultivating purpose. These aren't complicated theories. They're practical, scientifically backed strategies that honor both who you are and who you're becoming. But here's the most important part. You don't have to implement all 7 secrets at once. Choose one, the one that spoke to you most strongly while watching this video. Start there. Master it for a month. Then add another. Small, consistent changes compound over time to create remarkable transformations. Remember Margaret from the beginning? She didn't transform her life overnight. She started with just one morning ritual, then gradually built the others into her routine. Today, at 75, she's not just surviving. She's thriving. She's hiking, traveling, learning new skills, and inspiring everyone around her. Your age isn't a limitation. It's a liberation. You're free from the pressure of building a career, free from many of the responsibilities that consumed your middle years, and free to focus on what truly matters: your health, your relationships, and your legacy. The question isn't whether you're too old to start. The question is, what kind of life do you want to live for the next 20, 30, or even 40 years? Because with these 7 secrets, those years can be filled with energy, purpose, joy, and vitality. Your golden years are calling. They're not behind you. They're ahead of you, waiting for you to claim them with intention, wisdom, and hope. The best is yet to come. If this video has opened your eyes to new possibilities for your health and happiness, please share it with someone you care about who might benefit from these insights. Together, we can change the narrative around aging and help more seniors discover that their best years can truly be ahead of them. And remember, I'm here to support your wellness journey. Subscribe for more evidence-based content, and I'll see you in the next video, where we'll dive even deeper into creating your most vibrant, healthy, and purposeful years yet.